Hey, welcome to 2022. This is Nicky G from Better Commander. Today we're coming in hot with an E-Honda 100-hand slap for your Commander decks. These are budget players and are great for decks that cost less than an Elon Musk rocket to Mars. Let's talk about Pattern of Rebirth. This card hails all the way back from Urza's Destiny and was reprinted with new art in Ultimate Masters. At the time of this recording, this card is about $7. The art from Urza's is a little weird. Looks like some kind of creepy elves are just chilling watching a turtle laying an egg or something. I don't know, maybe that's the Pattern of Rebirth. I have no idea what's going on. The art from Ultimate Masters appears to be an old fella transforming into a dinosaur or dreaming of a dinosaur or something. Maybe he lived his life with the soul of an aggressive tortoise inside of him and he never gave up. I'm not sure. Pattern of Rebirth is an aura for 3 and a green, enchant creature. When enchanted creature dies, that creature's controller may search their library for a creature card, put that card onto the battlefield, then shuffle. Basically, you want a creature that'll sacrifice himself for value, like the Eldrazi spawn pumped out by Kozilek's Predator. He dies, sorry little guy, but we need your blood, and you go get an Avenger of Zendikar or whatever awesome creature you want. This goes in decks where you'll be sacrificing creatures often and have free instant sacrifice outlets. Corvold, Marin, Prosh come to mind. Slap it onto a Kobold and go get some Craterhoof Behemoth. Nasty, nasty value. In Marin, you can put it on a Spore Frog. Play chicken in your opponent's attack step. What a sweet card for Atla Pulani. You want her eggs to die, so you end up getting double value if you sack it to an altar. Sorry, little eggs. Guess what? Pattern of Rebirth is an aura, so commanders that care about auras and enchantments want a card like this to pump up your board state. Galea, Kindler of Hope, Sithis Harvest Hand, or Earl the Miststalker may like an effect like this. Does anybody still play Earl? Is he lost in the mist somewhere? Pattern of Rebirth is also part of an incredibly convoluted combo involving Karmic Guide, Revelark, Boonweaver Giant, Fiend Hunter, and a free sack outlet, and an aristocrat like Blood Artist. It's effective, but takes a lot of card slots playing suboptimal creatures. You need to really want Revelark and Karmic Guide in your deck, and you need to be playing aristocrats. You can kick off the combo with just Pattern of Rebirth and a creature to sacrifice. I can run through the combo real quick. Basically, Pattern of Rebirth triggers, go find Boonweaver Giant. It triggers, find Pattern of Rebirth attached to Boonweaver. Sacrifice Boonweaver, go find Karmic Guide. Karmic Guide triggers, bring back Boonweaver Giant, attach Pattern of Rebirth. Sacrifice Boonweaver Giant, go find Fiend Hunter triggers, exile Karmic Guide. Sacrifice Fiend Hunter, Karmic Guide comes back, reanimates Boonweaver Giant. Sacrifice Karmic Guide, sacrifice Boonweaver Giant. Go find Revelark, sacrifice it, reanimate Karmic Guide and Fiend Hunter. Trigger Karmic Guide, reanimate Revelark. Fiend Hunter triggers, exile Karmic Guide. Sacrifice Fiend Hunter, Karmic Guide comes back, triggers, reanimate Boonweaver Giant. Sacrifice it, go find Blood Artist. Sacrifice Karmic Guide, sacrifice Revelark, rinse and repeat. Does anyone want to do this in real life? I don't know. Is it good? I'm not sure. Is it a combo? Heck yeah. Let's take a look at Generator Servant. This little fella was originally printed in Magic 2015. It's 18 cents. It's a 2/1 elemental for 1 and a red. Tap, sacrifice Generator Servant, add 2 colorless. If that mana is spent to cast a creature spell, it gains haste until the end of turn. This poor guy works for the power company, right? It's like, hey, Generator Servant, can you come into my office for a sec? There's a guy here who needs haste. He costs 5 mana, so we're going to have to eliminate your position. He's like, what? I have a family. It's like, yeah, well, you're made of colorless mana, so. I don't know about you, but I want to accelerate my heavy-hitting commanders, and I want my expensive red commanders to have haste. Turn 3 Greven? Yes, please. Neheb. Rummaging and accelerating early? Yeah, dog. It's also awesome to have a tally hit the field and start swinging. You can power out Alesha, bring it back on the same dang turn. How sweet is that, Matt? Use your noggin. If your commander's costly and is in red, maybe give this guy a chance. He was just fired from the electric company and needs a job ASAP. Bro, what is going on in this art? This little card was originally printed in Mirage. It was printed so long ago that it's an interrupt, for gosh sakes, which is a card type that no longer exists. The Mirage art looks like Tarzan is just hanging with his lizard homie when suddenly a white doom missile comes out of nowhere and he uses some kind of primal slap to send it elsewhere. All the while someone is out of frame is giving the lizard a Heimlich or something. Metal was later reprinted in Onslaught. In this art, a mage with shoulder pads seems to be backhanding a black doom squiggle back to Hades where it belongs. Maybe it's the same dude from the other art, he just upgraded his closet. I don't know. This card basically flips a target creature to another target creature for 1 and 1 blue instant. If the target spell has only one target and the target is a creature, change that spell's target to another creature. This card is currently 14 cents. This card is kind of similar to Deflecting Swat. If you have a commander or creature that's hyper important to your strategy, you can 2-for-1 an opponent when it gets hit with a white Doom Missile, which would be Swords to Plowshares or Path to Exile, or a black Doom Missile, Deadly Rollick or whatever. Just change the target to that opponent's commander or whatever else is on the board. This can be a bit situational, but I use it in decks that want to play at instant speed and where my commander is integral. It usually isn't my only answer in those types of decks. With metal, you want commanders with instant and sorcery payoffs. Kaicar and Talrand, I love Talrand, and Kadena, Slinking Sorceress, because my opponents hate that sweet value that she brings. If you want to use a big brain play, cast something, then respond to your own spell and change the target if you just care about the cast trigger, or have too many cards in hand. Talrand makes 2 drakes, stuff happens. Oh, let's talk about Dispatch. This art is also a little perplexing. I think Venser is banishing a consecrated sphinx or something, but for some reason it looks like a bug. Whatever he's doing to it is painful. Dispatch is a white mana to tap target creature. Not great. If you control 3 or more artifacts, exile that creature. Pretty great. So this is Swords to Plowshares or Path to Exile, but your opponent doesn't get life or a land. This is a great card in Boros decks that care about equipment. Your ramp sources are likely artifacts, and your main damage dealers will be suited up with artifacts, so Metalcraft is relatively easy to achieve. Remember, all your treasures and clues in foods and bloods and whatever else count as well. You know who loves this card? Akiri, and also Akiri. The original is one of my favorite partner commanders. She's a great attacker with her stats and keywords. The new one is also pretty cool, although I haven't built a deck with her as of yet. However, she appears to be a pretty powerful commander. Osgir the Reconstructor, that new hotness from Strixhaven, has an incredible density of artifacts, and I'd run this over swords in that deck. Wyleth and the fairly played out Boros attack commanders would slot this into budget decks. Nobody's probably building this guy anymore, but Jor-Kadeen the Prevailer needs Metalcraft anyway. I used to have a Jor-Kadeen deck and it rocked. I had a lot of creatures who could give us Metalcraft on their own, and anthems that pumped each of them to absurd levels. With Jor-Kadeen on the field, you were going wide and tall. Let's talk about a personal favorite of mine, Patriarch's Bidding. The Onslaught art features the Cabal Patriarch, who is apparently raising his mom from the dead. This card was very pricey up until recently, but a reprint in Modern Horizons 2 brought it down thankfully to $2. This card is $2. The Modern Horizons 2 art has werewolves that are camping or something. They're having a fun time in the woods around like a little campfire. They look like the guys from the first stage of Altered Beast from the Sega Genesis. Kind of a deep cut there, but honestly, werewolves make no sense. They barely have any black werewolves anyway, and they don't do necromancy as far as I know. Would have made more sense if it was vampires, but none of it is supposed to make sense anyway. It's a card game. Patriarch's Bidding costs 3 and 2 black mana. It's a sorcery. Each player chooses a creature type. Each player returns all creature cards of a type chosen this way from his or her graveyard to play. So this is a symmetrical effect that's really going to power up decks that have a tribal theme. This card is really special to me. I was very excited when it got a reprint. I always wanted one for my black tribal decks, but it was too expensive. It goes really well with Farina the Lich Queen. I'm constantly filling my yard with zombies, sacrificing zombies. The win conditions in that deck like to see tons of zombies reanimated together for nasty drain effects. I also have it in Scion of the Ur-Dragon, as that big unit likes to stack the yard with dragons. Late game you can get back 5 or more with Dragon Tempest on the battlefield, and it's game over, man. I honestly think this is a great card in any tribal deck containing black. I've used it in Negre Markov to rapidly recover from a board wipe, which frequently happens when you're so threatening with so many vampire tokens. I've also used it in Slivers for the same purpose. Who doesn't love Slivers? Well, it turns out nobody likes Slivers, so they're going to board wipe you all the time. Long story short, I think you should buy a couple copies of this card. There was a reason why it was $15 to $20 at one point. Well, that's the video. These are 5 cards that slap for Commander, and I hope you liked it. I try to drill down to the essence of a card and see where it fits, see what commanders it'd be good for, and hopefully these suggestions get your creative juices flowing. You know, slap the like button, slap the subscribe button a little bit to see more nonsense next week. This is Nikki G from Better Commander signing off.